Hello, dear friends, and a very warm welcome from the most beautiful island world of Cyprus, Peru place. I am Peru. Yes, we are back, and it's time to go hunting again in Way of the Hunter. A DLC was released in mid-August, and I've only just gotten around to getting it, namely the Hunter's Advantage Pack. When we take a look shortly, there are, of course, new weapons again, but I have to be honest, I'm not that interested. I think the game already has almost too many weapons. We are inundated with them. To express it plainly, apologies, but there is no alternative way to articulate it. Far more intriguing is another device, specifically the electronic caller, which we are somewhat familiar with from Hunter Call of the Wild. Let's observe how this device operates, and I would suggest we return to New Zealand in the Matariki Park. I wish you a great abundance of enjoyment, and kindly remember, if you find it truly enjoyable, show some appreciation, give a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, subscribe, and here we are once more in our cozy and comfortable hunting lodge here in Mariki. I believe I might mispronounce this location multiple times, so please bear with me as I'm not from New Zealand anyway. Certainly we are already comprehensively equipped, and I shall now illustrate to you precisely what we presently possess and what is novel with the Hunter's Advantage Pack. This is our existing gear. We have the trusty and well-established Remington 783 here, which I find to be quite dependable, so we'll retain it, for a maximum hunting level of 5. Additionally, we have the Bonza, the compact one for hunting levels 1 to 5, and you can't go wrong with that, I would confidently say. Otherwise, the regular binoculars, with 8-fold magnification. Then we have the night vision and newly added on board, something I've been eagerly anticipating for quite a while. I haven't utilized the Big Brother hunting stands yet, but we'll also be doing that for the very first time today. And here it is, the universal electronic caller, right? So at this juncture, we already possess 2 items that are integral components of the Advantage bundle, which, in my opinion, were long overdue, especially the portable hunting stand. You genuinely must exercise caution regarding what you choose to bring along in Way of the Hunter. Unlike Call of the Wild, the available inventory slots are quite limited, I must admit, especially when it comes to weaponry, a maximum of 2 firearms. We are accustomed to something different from Way of the Hunt. I almost mentioned Call of the Wild. I constantly confuse them, but you understand what I mean. It's a significant distinction. You cannot equip as much as in the Hunter. However, that's acceptable because in reality, you don't venture out with 10 weapons on your back, so it's considerably more realistic. Now, let's swiftly examine the shop just so you can observe what's accessible with the new downloadable content. Wait, it was indicated here, correct? Yes, so here we have steer in various versions, monoblock male, what does male signify? Or male SSGM1, it appears quite impressive. These aren't merely optical variations. If you scrutinize closely, you'll notice distinctions in caliber and ammunition crafted for different hunting levels. For instance, there's even hunting level 6, the Remington. I believe there might be something intriguing for some individuals. I will attempt a level 6 hunt sometime just to witness what kind of power it possesses. But for now, we'll remain with what we have on board. I think I've also... Wait, let me swiftly check the map. Rocky Mountain elk dominate the region, but you also have other deer visiting from forests and goats visiting from the mountains. Get a taste of hunting in Matariki Park. I hadn't observed that yet. Yes, that would indeed be the introduction for the Mataraki or Matariki Park. Okay, nice. I actually intended to check the time on the map. Early morning, I believe, is an excellent time to set off. Now I just need to find the way out. I still get lost in my own place. You can't imagine it, but it's true. So here we have a beautiful pool, but we're not here to relax and have a good time. We're here to hunt. Where do I get out of here, guys? Don't mess with me here. I always wanted the furniture out of the way. It can't be. All right, let's head out. I'm very curious about what awaits us. The sun should be rising soon, so we can make good use of the entire day. So, where do we actually want to go now? That's the next question. I'd almost say here, right? We haven't explored this spot yet on this occasion. Indeed, that period between nighttime and the break of dawn possesses such a uniquely special illumination, in my opinion, and they have executed it quite impressively here, I believe. You can already observe that slight reddish illumination. It brings to mind the chamois, naturally. Those creatures lack any manners. Indeed, the moon remains before us, and behind us the sun ought to ascend at some point in the near future. Extremely nice, exceptionally beautiful. By the way, we are also experiencing the entire game for the very first time today, using the brand new controller. I am genuinely curious to experience how it feels now with aiming and everything. I sincerely hope, and I am actually quite convinced, that it will be significantly improved compared to that inexpensive controller we had previously. A brief jog, indeed making some progress. Did I manage to startle anyone? A triumphant victory awaits us ahead. Where are you guys? The guys are incredibly swift. You scarcely catch a glimpse of them before they vanish. Well, alright. What I was just about to mention, what I would like to attempt once more before we proceed with hunting here, is to reload initially. Here is indeed the hunting stand, the elevated stand, the portable one that can be reassembled once more, correct? You definitely don't want to be the final person there at the very last moment. There we have the binoculars, the whole shebang. There is indeed something available at this moment. We possess a total of 10 of those particular items, and that was indeed the case. Oh, take a look here, even with the additional weight, is that correct? They were prepared, those guys. Alright, at this specific moment in time, we should indeed possess a thorough and comprehensive perspective here. Could you kindly provide me with a firearm? I find that quite enjoyable already. Where's the cracking? Yes, they are either behind the rock or behind the hill already. But it doesn't matter. I'm sitting here nicely and solidly on my thing, the high seat. How do I descend from this place? With the B button? Alright. That's functioning quite well up to this point. Let us conduct a concise examination of the equipment. Here is the calling apparatus. So, alright. At this particular moment, we must conduct a swift examination. So here with the X button, in this specific instance, change species, okay, no wait, that's not precisely what I intended. Let's extinguish the light here. Do I need to hold this down or wait for a brief moment? All right, so you observe when you've selected that, this bar gradually fills up and then it's set. So you have to switch through relatively quickly. Here we have the Sika deer. Pause for a moment. Sika, all right, now let's initially extinguish the light here as much as possible. Listen to how that resonates. Here, a male in poor condition is calling ouch. So it's quite loud, isn't it? Hello, Christian. What exactly is transpiring with the ears in this particular situation? We possess the capability to employ the directional buttons moving upward and downward to summon a star male in either a favorable or unfavorable condition. So Well, I would undoubtedly always choose the less favorable ones because those are the ones we aim to eliminate. Yes, I believe it's quite intriguing. Am I still positioned on the elevated seat, or is it accurate that I have returned once more? I would indeed prefer to execute a transition at this specific moment, or perhaps I would indeed prefer to securely store the caller or descend from the elevated hunting stand, but it is not allowing me to achieve either action at this particular moment. I am feeling somewhat desperate. I genuinely wish to descend, and I am unable to even draw my weapon here. What precisely is transpiring? Kindly hold on for a short moment. Okay. How do I effectively manage to pick him up once more here with the colleague? I must somehow disassemble it once more. Ah, yes, quite marvelous indeed. So heaven lends a hand. Yes, I think I need to become accustomed to the sequence a bit more. But yes, we'll manage it. So let's proceed forward. What I don't fully comprehend now is, what is the purpose behind this countdown when identifying the species? I believe that it can indeed cause a significant amount of stress when you find yourself in a hunting scenario. You spot the animals and you want to swiftly select the correct one, but then you have to go through this countdown of 3, 2, 1, and suddenly you're too slow. You might have chosen the incorrect animal or perhaps set the wrong species, so it's not favorable but poorly configured, or conversely, then it becomes somewhat stressful, don't you think? Could you kindly express your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below? I would genuinely appreciate it. I always find it quite delightful and enjoyable when you take the time to reach out. You know, what also intrigued me somewhat about the hunting stand was the quantity indication. If I observed it accurately, do we truly have 10 of them in our inventory? Is that feasible or possible? Is it possible for you to leave them there? I don't know. So up there we have a laid-back champion stag, but I would like to see what is up there. You notice the 3 question marks. No, I am not referring to the audio drama series for the younger audience. The older folks still recall it, but the younger ones probably don't, right? Let's go up there now. I'm really curious. There we have another nice water spot. Now I also have knowledge of where the seekers originated from. They most probably passed through this particular area briefly after satisfying their thirst to some extent. I genuinely need to dedicate a bit more time in the game once again, engage in some stalking and tracking activities, so that I can become more familiar with the paths of the herds in a more detailed manner. At the moment, I just can't get to anything, you know? You know how it is. There likely won't be a considerable amount to hear or observe from me this week either, which is associated with my employment position transition. Indeed, I need to get more settled in a little bit, and there will be some additional overtime, so please don't be upset, it will be somewhat quieter this week. I am hopeful that a sense of normalcy will be restored here by the time next week arrives. Do we simply need to proceed directly ahead now, even though I don't observe any additional paths up here, correct? Although this appears to be a dirt road, isn't it? It appears to intersect at this point. We ought to examine it closely. Something should emerge shortly. Perhaps a dirt pathway that intersects in some manner, as I would prefer to proceed to the right and ascend to the initial question mark indicated on the map. But I'm so glad that the mobile hunting stands are finally included now, right? God, I've been advocating for a long time for them to be added to the game. Indeed, the only thing that remains absent for my complete personal satisfaction would be the inclusion of hunting dogs, correct? That is an element I truly appreciated in Call of the Wild, and it is certainly still lacking in this context. What precisely do we have here at this specific moment in time? There seems to be something shimmering just at the edge of my sight. It is likely a feeding area. Nevertheless, it is intended for some trivial hare, which does not particularly capture my interest at this moment. We have geese, but I'm not interested in them right now. I'm much more interested in that. A resting place, maybe not exactly a resting place, but rather a serene location for wapiti deer, which is quite pleasant. I am indeed still on the correct path. I believe it is necessary to establish a clear marker at this juncture, because otherwise, with all this ongoing conversation, we will not make any substantial progress here. It seems that someone is burping once more. Ah, it's the white-tailed deer. Certainly, behind the 7 majestic mountains with the 7 dwarfs and concealed from view, it was exceedingly apparent to me. Therefore, we shall align ourselves once more with our designated marker. Yes, it's slowly getting light here. I think it's going to be a beautiful day here again. Yes, I'm wandering around a bit recklessly here right now. I do not plan to aim for the major victory at this moment. Therefore, for the time being, I am concentrating on exploring the map a little more today and, as previously stated, utilizing our newly acquired equipment whenever the chance presents itself. Just not precisely at this particular moment. We want to get there eventually. Water is consistently beneficial, and we already have wapitis, which are naturally situated behind the mountain and beyond the hill, yet they remain in relatively close proximity. Perhaps we might even be fortunate, and the enigma in this location reveals itself to be a hunting stand, which would be truly wonderful. Maybe we'll even get the chance to see them, possibly right in our sights. Ahead lies a region of essential importance. Just a brief moment. Indeed, a wild domestic goat. Since we have the Rocky Mountain elks, so there is a certain chance that we might encounter our colleagues here. Let us move forward a bit more cautiously and gradually from this point onward to ensure that we are not moving around in a disorganized manner. Look over there. Do you notice? The colleagues are advancing at their maximum speed. Yes, it's all good. I haven't done anything yet, friends. Stay cool. So I'm having a bit of trouble here. So where are they then? Are they positioned behind the hill? Yes, naturally, always remain nicely concealed. They're not foolish, you know? How is the wind blowing? Yes, they already caught our scent here in their nostrils. The wind misled us, as we were not genuinely that close. Ordinarily, if we had the wind blowing straight in our direction, I doubt much would have occurred, but indeed, it was quite unfortunate. Just bad luck. What we could still endeavor to attempt, however, is to strategically position ourselves with our meticulously crafted improvised lookout in a location that is in close proximity to the water, and then observe to see if we can successfully dock something there. We can absolutely proceed with that, but initially, let's reveal this. This appears to be the camping site. Regarding the wildlife, I am convinced there's quite a lot happening in this area. We frequently hear calls all the time. Ah, that's a parking area. Certainly a parking area is indeed quite convenient, yet I was genuinely hoping that we might be able to establish a campsite in this particular location. What traces do we have here? Therefore, as I have previously mentioned, I shall make an attempt at that. Let's proceed with it immediately. We'll quietly approach the water here, more or less, and then I'll attempt, well, domestic goats. Then I shall endeavor to establish our hunting stand here upon the hill, or in a location where we possess a somewhat broader view, and then we shall keep our fingers crossed in the hope that we might acquire something suitable for the shotgun. Indeed, however, the matter concerning the wind still doesn't entirely settle well with me in this specific situation. No, that doesn't fully pertain to domestic goats whatsoever. Well, I'm not particularly interested in them at this moment. I'm just contemplating how we ought to position ourselves. We should indeed make our way around the lake so that we have the wind either at our back or in our face. No problem. It only makes sense that way. Yes, ideally, we should have the wind in our face now, so that the animals don't catch our scent too quickly. Consequently, we shall proceed to make a brief detour at this point, and during this period, we will naturally encompass the areas of interest. Certainly, Mountain Wapitis indeed. Moreover, in that particular direction, we also have an additional resting location. Certainly. The issue with the current situation is not merely locating a place where we possess an excellent view of the watering area and its surroundings, but also, as previously mentioned, guaranteeing that we're not positioned in the wind, but instead facing it, so the animals do not detect our scent. This forces us to take a small detour now. I hope it's worth it. We got up extra early, so something has to happen. Indeed, those are the wapitis. Perhaps we might even be fortunate enough to arrive at the perfect moment by quickening our pace slightly, but I am reluctant to walk too swiftly, as then absolutely nothing will pass by here at all. Definitely nothing at all. I thought I just saw something. Yes, I saw something too. Are those winners? Could that be? I'm not completely certain, but I believe so. In any case, I genuinely desired the field of view or line of sight to be oriented more in this particular direction. You see, it's not quite optimal yet, as you can tell from the bottom right of the windrows. Certainly, we really ought to advance to the area where the champions presently dwell. That is genuinely somewhat troublesome. I would prefer to attempt a shot at them and not scare them away, although probably not these two, as they seem to be too females to me. We are primarily on the quest for more mature bucks that necessitate culling. Certainly, there they appear to be. Nevertheless, the Wapitis seem to be positioned at quite a considerable distance from our current location, do they not?
The wind is manageable, but they've shown up at a completely different end than where I could really use them, honestly. How is it? Hello. I would very much like to politely request the booster seat, if you would be so kind. Certainly. Warm greetings. Hello? It has been strategically positioned and is presently situated up there. So, there are the colleagues present. Now we need to implement a swift modification here. We don't require the caller, as the guys are already here. I'll likely attempt an older one immediately. We shall accomplish it shortly. We shall accomplish it shortly. We shall accomplish it shortly. Be cautious, individuals in unfavorable condition, yet I believe I have the incorrect species. No, kindly hold on for just a moment. We truly require the Rocky Mountain. Indeed, that is quite suitable for the unfavorable condition. Certainly, it causes discomfort somewhat in the ear precisely at this specific location. Thus, I would be sincerely thankful if you could spare a few moments to observe the cat that we have positioned here outside. How do I remove this from my hand now, this object? Yes, he responds as well, which I appreciate. I would prefer to maintain possession of the weapon in my hand at this particular moment. Cruzinison and the Remington, if you could accelerate the process just a bit, please. So, what exactly is transpiring back there with the colleagues at this specific moment in time? Oh, darling, are they far away? Oh, no. It appears to bear resemblance to the more mature organism. Let's follow up. So if we do not possess that, I am uncertain. It was not a masterstroke, however. So he should have collected 3 times the colleague. Let's check it out now. Let's go ahead and meticulously pack up our deluxe high seat here for the moment. I need to become slightly more accustomed to it. You really shouldn't reload at this moment. You ought to disassemble it, you bird brain. What's the matter with you? At this juncture, we can proceed to jog a little, as it is not particularly significant at this moment, since the colleagues are already quite startled here regardless. Chamois, all right. Indeed, we can certainly examine them later, the colleagues. For the time being, we must proceed to the location where they just were. So we have, I don't know if you all noticed, but we definitely got a response from that one guy. I'm uncertain if establishing the one we currently possess was genuinely essential, but I sincerely hope so. Chamois. Thus, it is imperative that we promptly visit and thoroughly examine 3 separate shooting locations without delay. I sincerely apologize, but if he somehow manages to successfully navigate and survive this particular situation, then regrettably I must escalate matters somewhat in the appropriate direction. The colleagues are currently making their departure. However, let's not worry about that. We shall proceed to examine the connections at this moment. Typically, it ought to be accomplished with merely a single attempt. You know, I'm fairly open about it. I'm not exactly a highly skilled expert at long-distance shots. That's why I've just decided to go with 3. I understand it might not be entirely professional at this moment, but for today and this particular situation, it ought to be sufficient. A small quantity of blood. That is the present situation we are dealing with. Is this the 3rd occurrence happening in this location? I kindly request that you refrain from informing me that the colleague has received payment in this location on 3 separate occasions and is still moving around. You're not serious, are you? Or are you really trying to tell me this right now? We shall proceed to follow the trail. I am genuinely quite intrigued by it. Regarding the blood trail, is that everything? You're absolutely pulling my leg. You're genuinely pulling my leg here, my dear friends. Are you genuinely attempting to convey to me that all 3 shots were merely grazes or something along those lines? Yes, Wild. Honestly, I was absolutely certain that we had at least struck him with one of those 3 shots. Yes, so now he is completely bewildered and doesn't know what's up or down anymore. Nevertheless, he continues to remain standing. And incidentally, we still have this lingering question mark here. Hold on for a moment. Why don't we pivot and thoroughly examine what we might have overlooked here? Because since we're already present, if we begin to walk away, then the entire topic is already concluded. I am genuinely experiencing a considerable amount of frustration with myself at this specific moment in time. That was quite a significant error, indeed a rather substantial mistake. But you know how it is, right? Whether we go fishing or hunting here, a little bit of luck is always part of it, even if it's clear when I talk about it. And there are definitely still days when things just don't go as planned, you know? You learn to deal with it. Not always gracefully, but you learn to deal with it. Well, we had discovered the parking lot back there. What else could be there now? Or was there possibly a map that I even overlooked? We will discover it shortly. The area possesses a truly significant advantage and an equally significant disadvantage. It has a great advantage, namely that it is very clear, and the disadvantage is that it is very clear. The animals, of course, see us just as well, unless we are on a raised hide or something similar. As soon as we leave the cover here, we become vulnerable targets. There is undoubtedly something present over in that direction. Wait a moment, did we perhaps overlook that earlier, or hold on a second? So let's take a look here now. At this moment, we possess exactly what I sincerely desired, which is truly marvelous, a campsite, precisely what we need. Consequently, he has now revised the map. Greetings. Indeed, we notice there's quite a lot happening here. Rocky Mount Wapiti fitness, ranging between 30 and 100%, Highland goats 10 to 70. Indeed, it's all rather mixed up, yet the population here remains very stable. Well, I haven't had much chance to manipulate it yet. All right, we'll set up another exploration marker here, and we'll proceed along there now. I think I'll designate this as today's goal, and then we'll observe if and what is moving around, and subsequently we'll attempt to draw some sort of conclusion today. I'm feeling somewhat frustrated at the moment. Oh, somewhere behind the hill is a wapiti buck, light-footed. I'm approaching our potential prey with caution, so the wapiti, or the wapiti buck in this instance, is quite relaxed, because we're still separated by the hill, but we're also facing the wind, which means he doesn't detect our scent. He doesn't sense us, at least not yet. So now, very cautiously, the comrade shouldn't be too far away. Surveying the entire mountain here is exhausting, but he's already moving in our direction, which I find very agreeable. We're getting progressively closer. I also need to reduce it to 100 to 50 meters, perhaps even less, because we're extremely close now. If we manage to see him, he's quite near. It appears he's still calm. If we finally have visual contact here, I don't hear any trotting, so he seems to still be there. I could utilize my distance update. That wouldn't be unfavorable. So definitely a buck. I can't determine what status he possesses. Wow, I'm crawling here already, and we still can't see him. Is there possibly a body of water down there? Is he genuinely sincere concerning that specific matter? Really? This cannot be genuinely serious. Does he actually lack the basic decency to simply lie down? Damn it. Hold on for a moment. That is precisely where we originally intended to go. That is where our final shot took place. I must eliminate a few more traces of blood here. Otherwise, we will find ourselves in significant trouble, my friends. So, the closest is the campsite here. That's where we started. Yes, there's no help for it. We have to go back there. Absolutely, let's proceed. If we have not resolved this issue at this moment, then regrettably I must escalate the matter. I apologize. It couldn't have been any closer. If that did not work out over the given distance, I believe I regrettably must set it aside for today, because then I probably should not proceed any further today. Thus a comparatively modest quantity of blood, somewhat translucent. Well, the second shot might not have been such a good hit, but here's our first shot, and that's where I'm pinning my hopes. That appears to be an excellent splatter film. Indeed, it ought to be located somewhere. I simply wish to remain here for a little while. Indeed, splendid. Shot down and subsequently run over, correct? That sort of thing could solely occur to me. So in this location, we possess a dining establishment that the individuals frequently visit. Let's just follow the trail of blood now. Indeed, he genuinely should not have been able to progress this far. To be honest, I had expected to halt him with the second shot before he could fully overtake me, but unfortunately, that was an absolute failure. There he is. Why am I aimlessly running around in this particular place? You can't see the forest for the trees? That looks beautiful. Sure. So monotonous. Well, I no longer have any concern. So the right lung, the initial shot, was indeed already present. I truly would not have taken the subsequent shot if he had not attempted to run me over. Yes, precisely. That is what we had previously. I indeed struck the lung once more with the second shot. He still somehow managed to knock me over. Oh dear, oh dear. All right, let's proceed with our search. Male, youthful. Indeed, I genuinely did not wish for a youthful creature, darn it, but I failed to notice its identification tag. I merely observed the fur, I noticed the connection point, and well, whatever. I cannot change it now. However, at least we have reached a conclusion here today, correct, children? So, where shall we proceed next to our designated point? I need to get used to taking more time again, especially here identifying animals and such. I don't want to accidentally shoot my herds because we definitely need the young bucks. We must eliminate the older creatures, yet the opportunity was so ideal that I simply couldn't resist. You understand how it is. The creature stands perfectly unshot. However, it becomes quite rocky here. Be cautious. It's the chamois here, or a nice elevated stand. Quite nice. But I thought I just noticed something here. Hold on a moment. No, I want to use binoculars. I thought I observed something right by the water, but I was mistaken. Still a pleasant location. A pleasant location for an outpost, I almost wanted to say. Yes, definitely for an outpost, but for a high stand. Certainly. It's still behind the hill, okay? With a bit of fortune, they might approach the watering hole here. Perhaps we'll get another opportunity for a second shot. But here we have excellent cover with the rocks. I appreciate that. We truly have the watering hole right in front of us. Fantastic. I always find that delightful. So just a little higher here, so we're mostly out of sight again here. And yes, also a bit out of the scent field of the colleagues. So let's take a quick look at the map. I want to remove the exploration point quickly. Yes, it just irritates. So, we already see a glow here and there, so I think wapitis are in order here. I'll get the caller out again. What do we have set right now? The Rocky Mountain setting remains in place, which is beneficial. Individuals in less than optimal condition, so I still need to acclimate myself to managing this exquisite piece of equipment, but it's quite pleasing that we receive an immediate response, isn't it? I am quite convinced that he is progressing in our direction. Yes, I am fairly certain he is indeed advancing towards us. Take a look. He is indeed approaching, isn't that right? He is indeed steadily progressing in our direction, so let's keep our focus concentrated on this specific individual right here. Come on, come to Papa. Yes, he is indeed a remarkable one, truly exceptional. So theoretically, this should be an animal in less than perfect condition. Greetings. I did not anticipate that just now. Yes, he is quite communicative, and I'm experiencing a minor technical difficulty with the back and forth exchange here. Apologies for that. I intended to learn a bit about this fellow here. Yes, he is an adult and not in optimal condition, so we could potentially remove him from the competition, so to speak. 183 meters are being indicated here. Mr. Kerr, this time you cannot run me over, my friend. You can dismiss that thought. Seriously? Do you want to try that, my friend? Would you like to give it a shot? Were you intending to challenge me to a duel at this very moment, or what exactly is transpiring in this particular situation? Is he merely making himself scarce at this point in time? You can. Are you really serious now? That was undoubtedly an exceptionally remarkable shot, and you can proceed to depart now, all right? Yes, we shall take a more comprehensive and detailed examination of the connection. I might be mistaken, but by observation, it did not appear to be unfavorable, correct? Promptly reload before the bird conceives any humorous notions and attempts to escape once more, all right? Let's maintain it at a distance of 100 meters. Okay. Indeed, we can distinctly observe the blood trail here on the right side. But previously it was so pleasant, you might have witnessed the brief moment where it was a single shot and down on its knees. However, today I'm not experiencing any fortune. As I mentioned, not every day can be an ideal day. So, what do we have here? You have successfully managed to navigate through the doorway, Fieta, all right? Well, dear friends, that did not exactly work out as planned, did it? So where do we find ourselves positioned at this moment? I propose we make our way back to that location, and indeed, that will serve as a favorable starting point once more. To be completely honest, I'm not feeling particularly well at the moment. I'm somewhat disappointed in myself after covering merely 150 to 180 meters. That's not really a substantial distance, is it? 300 meters is indeed quite significant. I must acknowledge to myself that I typically fall short at 3,500 meters. But we truly should have accomplished that. I should have indeed managed that. So let's move forward to eliminate the marker once again. I shall strive to develop the habit of consistently removing the marker promptly, because if there's any ambiguity, they tend to be quite bothersome. Nevertheless, I am confident that this specific area will prove to be exceptionally fascinating for us in future episodes. There is a substantial amount of wildlife present in this vicinity, making it undoubtedly a highly productive area. As I previously mentioned, I am of the belief that the hunting stand occupies an outstanding position, and I am genuinely amazed at the proximity this buck achieved with the caller. That truly had its remarkable moments. However, at this point, it is all quite serene here following the shot I took, and I believe this is precisely the perfect moment to take a brief pause. Certainly, we can draw a quick conclusion about two items from the new DLC, the Hunter Advantage Pack, the hunting stand, and the caller device. Both function exceptionally well. Nevertheless, I find the handling to be somewhat more intricate compared to Call of the Wild the Hunter. Descending from the hunting stand independently indeed, or utilizing the caller with its various selections, I believe there remains some potential for further enhancement, I would suggest. You are welcome to share your opinion in the comments. I would be very happy. Well, that concludes everything from me for today. We will, of course, be going hunting again soon, and we will indeed be taking a look at the Hunter, Call of the Wild, as it has been quite some time since we last examined it. In that sense, thank you for watching, and of course, see you next time. Goodbye.